Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS producers Sydney Bowles, BNEWS reporters Chris Flaherty and Robert Paris, Peter Brown with the weather, Anthony Matos with sports, Gretchen Carey with the community calendar, and Marge Yepman with senior news. Thank you for joining us. Depending on whether or not Burlington chooses to replace only Fox Hill Elementary School, replace both Fox Hill and Pine Glen schools, or combine the two schools into a larger one, residential tax bills could go up by anywhere from $144 to $365. That's according to an analysis by Ways and Means Committee Chairman John Eiler. And Eiler says those are rough numbers, and it leaves out costs like building upkeep, and it ignores other bonds the town might likely take out, such as one for the police station. According to Eiler's calculations, if the town were to only replace Fox Hill, leaving Pine Glen as is, it could add about $144 per year. Replacing Pine Glen and Fox Hill with the so-called mega school could cost about $134 million, adding about $283 to an average annual tax bill. And Eiler found replacing both Fox Hill and Pine Glen on their current sites would be the most expensive of all the options, costing a total of about $150 million and adding about $365 to your tax bill. Eiler said any of the proposed projects would be a much larger bond than the other ones the town has now or has ever considered. Let's take a look.
We're talking about bonding either roughly $103 or $133 million. Other projects in the pipeline, likely pipeline, are a police station. That would be about $30 million is one current estimate. The bonding for our various water projects, which is 3 different MWRA activities with our connections plus the big PFAS filter that we're putting in. Those in total come out to about $29.5 million. So the point is, in terms of other bonded projects that we have coming up, this is on the order of 3 times as large as some of the other things that we're looking at.
School committee members were divided on how to receive the numbers. Committee member Jeremy Burke said it would be wise to wait on official cost calculations from the contractors hired to do just that.
I take exception to a lot of this because it's information thrown out with very little context, and it's going to create a vacuum where people will fill that void with a lot of things and assumptions.
But committee member Christine Monaco said there was a value to the calculations.
I have a feeling your numbers are right on because I know you pretty well. So thank you for producing this. I think to those of us that are not here to jump down your throat, it is probably extremely accurate, and it's good to have something to think about and look at.
Of course, the cost isn't the only factor in the decision. In recent town meetings, residents have raised concerns about traffic and potential poorer educational outcomes at larger elementary schools. And as you know, the Ways and Means Committee is tasked by bylaw to review all financial issues in the town. A long-awaited audit of equity issues in Burlington schools is expected by the end of June. Consultants have collected surveys from about 500 students and looked at data from across the district. And auditors will be in the district in the coming weeks to speak with students and administrators. The district originally contracted with a group called Black Print Educational Consulting for an equity audit back in 2022. That document was expected last October, but was never made public. The district contracted with a new group, Commonwealth Consulting Agency, in March. Superintendent Conti said the new consultants have been very responsive. The Burlington Select Board this week acknowledged June 2023 as Pride Month in Burlington and named this June 15th in honor of LGBTQ Pride organizer Leo Abramov, who passed away from stomach cancer earlier this year. Sitting beside Leo's wife, Kerry, resident Nikki Cadillac shared a tribute to Leo.
Leo Abramov was a friend to everybody in here, and really to anybody he met. He was a bright light in a world that wasn't always kind to him, and really provided an example for LGBTQ people everywhere, and also the youth in our town, that it's okay to be who you are, and that it's okay to live as the person you are.
The proclamation aloud.
The town of Burlington would like to celebrate the life and legacy of Leo Abramov. Leo immigrated to the United States with his family when he was 14 years old. He was an inspiration to all with his positive outlook and contagious smile. And whereas Leo set a positive example for queer and trans youth in the community by living as his true self and being open to answering questions from community members, he showed strength in the face of discrimination and adversity. And whereas he, along with his wife Carrie, founded the Burlington Pride Day celebration, and first event acknowledging and celebrating the queer community in Burlington, he was an outspoken champion of trans rights within our community. And whereas Leo was taken with stomach cancer shortly before his 36th birthday and was taken by the disease on March 9th, 2023, his 37th birthday would have been June 15th, 2023. Therefore, the Town of Burlington Select Board does hereby proclaim the day of June 15th, 2023 Leo Day because of his dedication to help to make Burlington, to help make Burlington a welcoming place for members of the LGBTQIA+ community and encourage all residents to celebrate his valuable contributions to our community.
Burlington acknowledged LGBTQ Pride for the first time in 2022. A Pride celebration is planned for June 10th from 11 to 2. The week of May 21 to 27 is National Public Works Week, and Burlington took a moment to celebrate. At Monday's Select Board meeting, Chair Mike Runyon spoke highly of the men and women who keep the roads, water, and sewers working. Let's look.
Very proud of our DPW, all the members, highway, water, sewer, engineering, cemetery, your staff. Just an outstanding job. You guys never get the recognition you deserve. You're out there at 15 feet below ground in the middle of a blizzard in February, doing your job. You're always there when we need you.
The celebration continued the following day. Stay tuned to the end of this broadcast to see how. Town Administrator Paul Sagarino stopped by the BNEWS studios this week for his monthly update. The interview covered developments from Maytown meeting and the latest from the future of Fox Hill and Pine Glen elementary schools. Sagarino also discussed a meeting this week about the future of the Mall Road area, which is currently up for redevelopment. Sagarino said he'd attended a listening session with the community and summarized what he heard about what residents want.
Connectivity really is a big thing. A lot of the attendees were really concerned about making better connections between the different parcels down there. If you try to walk around down there, you can't really walk from Leahy to the district. It's difficult sometimes to cross the mall parking lot to get to the district. So how do we make those all those big parcels down there, which are all great as their own, how do we make it so that somebody can walk, from an office building here to the mall, safely in an enjoyable way?
Some of the undercurrent around town is talk of the developers who see all of the empty parking spaces as a result of the pandemic working from home, view that as an opportunity for more dense development. The full interview is available at bcattv.org. Burlington Fire Chief Andrew Connerty has announced that firefighter Patrick O'Halloran has graduated from the Metro Fire Recruit Training Academy. During the 11-week program, O'Halloran learned firefighting techniques, operations, and safety methods. Having O'Halloran on board will help the fire department's staff shortage, which continues. The Board of Health is changing its policies on keeping backyard animals. Now residents who want to keep animals in their yards, including chickens, goats, or horses, must obtain a permit from the Board of Health. The permit will ask for a turf management plan, a manure management plan, and a handwritten plot plan. The Burlington community came together this week to place flags on the graves of fallen soldiers in preparation for Memorial Day. BNews reporter Chris Flaherty was there.
The week before Memorial Day, the flags that mark the graves of fallen veterans in Pine Haven and Chestnut Hill cemeteries are replaced by Veteran Services. The tradition continued Wednesday afternoon with the assistance of a dedicated group of volunteers.
Well, during COVID, and I think it was 2020, we didn't have any volunteers other than one of the firefighters, Robbie Blankhorn, myself and Jen. and it took us like 6 hours. So with all the volunteers, I mean, we got it done last year in under 45 minutes. I think the great thing about it is especially when you see some of the older veterans here, but then some of the young kids, right? Like, I think that's uplifting to the older veterans that our youth are paying attention to this stuff, and parents are having their kids here to understand the magnitude of the weekend coming up.
Burlington's annual Memorial Day ceremony will begin at 10 a.m. at Chestnut Hill Cemetery and commemorate the 50th anniversary of U.S. troops leaving Vietnam.
You know, a lot of people look at it as a day off of work or a long weekend where they can get up to the lake or whatever. I just hope people take some time to recognize the day. It's the people that sacrificed and made the ultimate sacrifice so that we have the luxury of doing that. To think about, you know, a nation of almost 340 million people have the option to have the day off of work because of the sacrifices that those men and women made. The day would be missed if we didn't take some time out of our day, especially on Monday, to recognize the sacrifices that those men and women made.
Until next time, this is Chris Flaherty for BNEWS Weekly.
Burlington is home to Northeastern University's Innovation Campus, but what really goes on in those classrooms and laboratories? I sat down with Tommaso Melodia for a longer conversation about a project called Coliseum, and that full interview is available online, but we wanted to bring you a shorter version of that conversation too, so here's a glimpse at what we discussed. BNews producer Sydney Bowles brings you the story.
Northeastern's Burlington campus is home to Coliseum, a project that's part of the next generation of wireless internet. Tommaso Melodia, director of the Institute for the Wireless Internet of Things, sat down with BNews' Phil Gallagher to tell us how these servers are changing the way the internet works.
The way wireless communications work today is that you take the electromagnetic spectrum, you divide it in lanes, those are the frequency channels, and then there are government entities that assign these frequency bands uniquely to specific users, right? So there's specific frequency bands that are used for, say,
airlines, for instance, things of that.
right. So they're used for radar, for example, right? And so there's specific DoD entities that can use it for radar. Some are used for weather radar. Some frequency bands are used for commercial wireless, right? And then there's auctions, and the different wireless operators, bid to get access, exclusive access to specific frequency channels.
Melodia says the federal government has been exploring ways to use artificial intelligence to divide up the electromagnetic spectrum in more dynamic ways.
They wanted to have different teams from around the nation, different academic teams, and there were startups that were competing to develop the best artificial intelligence for wireless algorithms. And then they said, okay, we need a common playground for this, right? We need sort of a device where these different teams can compete. And that's how they created the Coliseum.
Now, Coliseum is located right here in Burlington, which means teams from all over the world are using these servers to experiment with the future of the internet. For BNews, I'm Sydney Bowles.
Burlington is home to lots of kinds of animals, from the pets in our homes to reptiles and birds and fish and insects. Some of those animals live in the Burlington High School at the Science Center. In the inaugural episode of our series Critters Up Close, producer Sydney Bowles takes us to the Science Center to meet one of its celebrity residents.
Sometimes a performer makes such an impression on you that you just know they're going places. And that's what happened at a recent school committee meeting when the African pygmy hedgehog Starla wowed the whole room as the Science Center director Wendy Pavlicek urged the committee to support the Science Center in the school budget. I just knew I had to learn more about this budding ingenue, so I paid Starla a visit in her home at the Burlington High School Science Center.
So I'm about to take out our African pygmy hedgehog. Her name is Starla, and Starla came from a breeder in southern New Hampshire called Hammer Hollow hedgehogs. And Lisa over at the breeding facility is great. She often will call us with hedgehogs that are returned as pets. And this little lady here, she was returned as a pet because they do have some requirements and responsibilities, and they decided to offer her up for the public schools here as an educational ambassador.
Starla's diplomatic duties include helping Burlington kindergartners learn about how hedgehogs defend themselves in the wild.
Students in kindergarten, at the end we do a little kind of visual assessment on how a hedgehog protects itself in the wild. They learn about the quills being a type of hair. It's a special type of hair, and how the pointiness will help protect them from the larger animals like hyenas and eagles and things out in Africa. And then they will curl into a ball, and all the kindergartners curl into their ball. And then what's really hard to hear is hedgehogs will make this snuffling noise. It's kind of like a grunt or a snuffle, and they will sniffle and grunt while they curl into the ball. So all the kids have to pretend they have quills, curl into the ball, and go and make all these noises. And it's really cute to see the kindergarten kids kind of get involved and, act like a hedgehog.
In winter, Wendy teaches a lesson alongside Massachusetts author Jan Brett, who wrote The Mitten.
And this is a storybook about a young boy named Nicky and his grandmother named Baba. And she makes him a beautiful pair of snow white mittens to go out in the forest and have a good time playing in the snow. He ends up losing the mitten, and one by one these animals find the mitten, including the hedgehog, and will crawl into the mitten. And as all the animals crawl into the mitten, it gets bigger and bigger. And eventually, one of the animals, I believe it's the bear, sneezes inside the mitten, and all the animals go flying out all over the place, and Nicky finds his glove and runs home, and he's so happy he found his glove. But when the glove is returned, Baba notices that one mitten is bigger and the other is smaller. So we connect the seasons as far as a seasonal story about winter, and then we talk about animals' needs and how animals protect themselves. And I really focus on how this is a nonfiction book, that all of these animals typically wouldn't live together in a mitten as friends in the wild. And the kids learn about that and bring that out through discussion, through the text, and then through having the live animal.
Now you know a little more about this tiny Burlington celebrity. From the Science Center, I'm Sydney Bowles.
It's almost June, and as always, there's a lot going on at the Senior Center. Council on Aging Director Marge Yetman was here to tell us all about it.
Hello. We're slowing down a bit in June, but there will still be plenty to keep you busy. Our special events include a walk in the garden with Eleanor Roosevelt, where you will visit with Eleanor for a backyard picnic lunch at her home in Hyde Park to hear about her love of gardening and the natural world, as well as her role as First Lady helping feed America during World War II. This interactive performance will be followed by a presentation outlining the place of victory gardens in American history and their relevance in today's world, and takes place on Tuesday, June 6th. Snacks will be served, but not an actual lunch. The new New Orleans Jazz Band is here on their usual day and time, the first Wednesday at 12 p.m. We'll be making a sun catcher for our craft on June 13th in the morning, and in the afternoon we get to listen to the lovely sounds of harpist Susan Wright Reagan. We'll learn about food safety on the 14th and also begin the new Leahy Farmers Market season. Please note, we are changing the time to 2:30 p.m. to better accommodate people and activities. We will begin to give out numbers at 2 p.m. and not before, so we don't get in the way of activities. We will go back to market style, where the volunteers can put what you want in your bag and you don't have to take what you won't eat. We will also keep a waiting list, but if you don't return the following week, you will be taken off the waiting list. On Wednesday the 21st, we have some fiddlers in the form of Stagecoach in Ramblers. And that evening, pizza and a movie with Hook. Our musical movie for June is Royal Wedding. And don't forget about the walking group on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We also have the Walk Massachusetts Challenge you can sign up for by going to www.walkmachallenge.com to sign up. We only have 12 people from Burlington signed up so far, and I'd love to see more sign up. You can walk with the walking group without signing up, and you can sign up without walking with us. One of our members won a gift card last year. If you receive SNAP benefits and you like to go to farmers markets for fresh fruits and veggies, you can purchase them at the farmers markets without cutting into your monthly benefit. For more information on how it works, please call us at 781-270-1950 and ask to speak to one of the social workers, Alex, Andrea, or Brenda. You will be able to use the benefit at almost any farmer's market, but the closest one is at the Ditson School on Boston Road in Billerica on Mondays from 3 to 7 p.m. That's all for now. I'm Marge Etman, and I hope to see you at the Senior Center.
Looks like it's shaping up to be slightly cool but still sunny this Memorial Day weekend. Let's check in with Peter Brown for the full forecast, and stay tuned for your community calendar with Gretchen Carey.
Well, hello everyone. This is Peter Brown. Look at your weather for the next 7 days. Here we are heading into the unofficial start of summer. I know it's hard to believe that we are to the Memorial Day weekend already. Now, starting our period on Friday, we should be seeing temperatures at this time of the year in the mid-70s. That's right where we're going to be on Friday. Have that cool easterly wind coming in from the ocean that's going to keep the 80s kind of at bay way out in western Massachusetts. As we round out our period getting in towards next Thursday, I know June 1st, the unofficial meteorological start of summer is June 1st, and we should be seeing temperatures at this time of the year in the mid-70s. And I think we're going to be seeing temperatures maybe in the low to mid-80s by the time we get to the end of next week. So really nice out there. And of course, we are actually getting to our maximum length of days. We are only a couple of weeks now away from the official start of summer in the middle of June. Let's take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us in terms of temperatures and precipitation for the next 7 to 10 days. Really not much to say here. We're looking like Burlington is going to, along with most of the northern tier of the country, going to be expecting above average temperatures. That's what I'm seeing, especially as we round out the end of next work week. Looking at our precipitation chances, nothing new here either. It looks like we're going to be seeing below average precipitation, so mild and dry out there as we go into the end of May and the very start of June. Again, I know hard to believe that we're that far into 2023. So as you go ahead, let's take a look at what those 7 days of weather coming up are bringing us. And there's really not much to say here. Something that's a real oddity, though, for these 3-day weekends in the summertime. Memorial Day weekend looks like we are going to have beautiful conditions all 3 days of the long weekend. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, absolutely beautiful. Sunny out there. So if you're going to any of those Memorial Day parades, anything like that, beautiful weather out there. As we start out our work week and right through the end of the week, we're going to see our temperatures go up a little bit each day. Again, maybe a chance of maybe some light showers is a possibility as we get towards the end of the work week, as we see some more humid conditions come in. But generally speaking, wall-to-wall sunshine out there and temperatures getting up into the low 80s. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your Community Calendar. On June 1st at 10:30 a.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a program called the Fine Motor Fun Program. For more information and to register for this event, go to burlingtonpubliclibrary.org. On June 3rd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Francis Wyman Elementary School is having their 20th annual Community Carnival. It will be a day. Admission is free. Game, activity, and food tickets will be sold at the event. On June 14th, BCAT will be having their 2023 annual meeting and appreciation awards inside of the Fogelberg Auditorium at Burlington High School. The red carpet begins at 6:30 p.m. and the awards start at 7. Everyone is welcome to the event, and it is also free. I'm Gretchen Carey, and that was your Community Calendar.
We're coming to the end of the spring sports season at BHS. Let's turn to Anthony Matos for the details on how our high school teams are wrapping up.
Hey everyone, I'm Anthony Matos. In this weekly sports report, we reached the end of the regular season at BHS and teams are wrapping up their final games. The softball team had their final 2 regular season home games on May 18th and May 23rd. On the 18th, they competed against Wilmington where they had a 5-2 win. On the 23rd, they were against the Woburn Tanners. Aiden Hayes has these highlights.
Win Street took place at Marvin Field on the afternoon of May 23rd, when the Woburn Tanners paid a visit. It didn't take long for the Tanners to score in the top of the first as an error occurred on the Red Devil infield. 1-0 Woburn.
Oh, and they score!
The score didn't change until the top of the 5th, where the Tanners scored a run off a base hit. 2-0 Woburn. Burlington got on the board in the bottom of the sixth with a run scored by Madison King. 2-1 Woburn.
Burlington's on the board.
Burlington fell short of a comeback in the bottom of the seventh as Woburn holds on to a win, 2-1.
Currently, the team is 16-3 and has one more game at Central Catholic on May 27th. The Burlington Unified basketball team was at Hoopapalooza event at Gavin Middle School in Wakefield on May 24th. 32 Unified teams were in attendance. As this taping, the results have not been posted. The Red Devil track teams will be competing in a two-day MIA Division Championship meet at Notre Dame in Hingham on May 26th and May 28th. We want to wish everyone competing the best of luck. Go Devils. The boys volleyball are on a 4-game winning streak, beating Framingham 3-1, Salem 3-2, Medford and Somerville both 3-1. The team is currently 12-7 and will close out the regular season on May 26th against Greater Lowell Tech. Girls lacrosse had back-to-back wins this past week over Boston Latin and Andover. On May 21st, they won against Boston Latin by a close score of 16-14. The next day, the team was at MSMS for a game against Andover. They had a 16-15 win. The Devils have 3 more games before the end of the season, including Massaconnet, Methuen, and Melrose. We'll have updates on those matchups next week. The team is currently 11-4. Boys lacrosse lost 2 non-league games against Acton Boxborough on May 20th and Westwood on May 23rd. In AB, they were outscored 20-8 and lost by a point in Westwood on May 23rd, 11-10. Currently, Burlington is 12-5 and has one more game against North Andover before playoff seeding next week. Boys baseball is now 10-8 after back-to-back wins against Bedford. In their first meeting on May 20th, they won the game 10-5. On the 23rd, they traveled to Bedford, but they won by a similar score of 11-5. Burlington will compete in the Brendan Grant tournament in Belmont over the weekend. Their opponent will be Linfield on May 26th. Good luck, Devils. The girls' tennis team competed at Rahanis Park for their final home regular season game against Melrose, where they lost by a close set score of 3-2. Burlington finished the season in Melrose on May 25th. The Red Devils boys tennis team finished the regular season at 14-4 after a 5-0 win over Melrose on May 22nd. They now wait for the seeding in the MIA playoffs. For more Red Devil action, go to bcattv.org/sports and check out our Twitter page at BNEWS Sports. That's all for now. I'm Anthony Matos, back to you guys in the studio.
And as always, we end with a photo of the week sent in from a member of the community. And as promised, it's a return to our earlier story about National Public Works Week. Mike Espeo with the Select Board shared this photo of a sweet acknowledgement of the good work done in the Public Works Department here in Burlington. Since I know you were wondering, the cake is half chocolate, half vanilla, a little something for everyone. If you have a photo you want to see on Photo of the Week, email it to us at bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. And that's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher. Thank you for joining us.